Hello guys, I'm Super Ron, welcome back to the channel and we're here again at Autoshack for another day in paradise. We're here with this amazing supercar. It's a Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera and it's a very, very rare car in this colour, left-hand drive, V10 engine and manual gearbox. And it's the manual gearbox that we've been working on. Hopefully you tuned into the last episode and you would have seen part one where we got the clutch, flywheel and gearbox back in the car because that's what the car is in the workshop for. It had a gearbox problem, we had the gearbox rebuilt and now it's all back in. We've done all the work so far on the floor, but now it's been a shuffle around. We've got it on the ramp so we can have a look underneath. So this is a super lightweight Superleggera version. So there's carbon fibre everywhere. All the way down, all the real deal. It's the front prop shaft because this is four-wheel drive. The prop going through the engine there, all the way to the front. But it's amazing to see underneath. Everything has got a purpose, everything has got a job to do. It just looks amazing. The brakes are absolutely colossal. 19-inch wheels, they are full up. It's not the easiest thing to jack up. We had to put all the pads on the floor to start with to get it high enough even to get the ramp underneath. And it's tricky to spot where the jacking points actually are because there's no point at the front. There's just this reinforced bit and you've got to trust that you are in the right place. Under here it's quite easy to see you've got that beam going across there, which is part of the structure. This is all flat floor. It's a little bit easier at the rear. You've got these circles where you put the ramp, and then underneath that is the structural parts inside. But when you're under there trying to jack it up, you've got to put your trust in these markings because it's just a thin piece of alley. But underneath you have got that big structure, but you can't see it until you're up in the air. So now we've got access to the underneath. Let's carry on fitting this gearbox. And before we cover it all up, I'm going to bleed up the clutch just to make access a bit easier. So we've got the pump in the front. And we'll pump it up, then round to the rear. Got a bottle set up, should just be able to crack the bleed nipple off and the fluid will come out and bleed itself all up nicely. Oh. Blop, 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 blop. Nothing on the floor?
No, we're good.
And next up, while we've got access, going to fill it out with transmission. This is just the first lot. We've got to put it in, run it all because it's a fully rebuilt gearbox. Dump that out and then put the good stuff in. And now, carry on bolting bits together. So these are the original catalytic converters off the Lamborghini that we took off. But when we removed them, we discovered that this one's got a rattle. Which means the honeycomb is breaking up inside. And apparently on these V10s, that is not good news. So it's a perfect time for an upgrade. So we've got these super nice sports caps. So they'll do the job nicely. Lee's just got the landers out of these ones. So now we can put them in the new ones and get these on the car. And another little update, got all the exhaust system on, got those new sport cats in. They put up a little bit of a fight, but we got them in. Got all the exhaust temperature senders, the lander sensors, super cool Lamborghini exhaust, and all the oil tank for the dry sump systems in and all connected up. So we are now all plumbed in. We're getting close to being able to start it up. I took the wheels off. The brakes, even on the back, are absolutely massive. They are huge. And I keep finding I left myself little notes everywhere. So it's all gone together really nicely. To exhaust, the lambdas were there, the EGT sensors. That was the number plate lights. So I did label everything as I took it apart, and it's just made it so much easier to go back together. I haven't been doing things twice. I've been looking at the pictures, the way we took it apart. So as much as the daunting task of taking a Lamborghini apart has been, it's actually gone really, really well. So it's time to now fill up with oil, and then we're almost time to put the airbox on and fire it back up, see what it sounds like. With it being a dry sump setup, we've got to put 6 litres of oil in and then start it up for a minute and then put another 4.5 litres in and then check the level with it running after that. And the first start in nearly 2 years.
Neutral.
Take 2. That hasn't done many miles. So you saw us run it all up to temperature there. We went through all the gears at all different speeds, got no leaks, everything's good. It is mega loud at the minute because the bypass valves aren't plugged in, so it's just straight through. Does sound awesome, but run it through the gears, get it up to temperature. That opened all the oil coolers, flushed everything through, and we dumped out the oil and put the new stuff in. My parts pile is getting a lot smaller, so not many bits to do, and I'm getting more and more empty bags, so we're heading in the right direction. Let's fit these last few bits. That's the rear bumper all bolted on fully. I've got it up in the air to do the bolts underneath, and you can see how far the gearbox sticks out at the back. I've got this huge carbon fibre diffuser. It's actually had to have a little cut out like you'd have for a tow bar, but that's the end of the gearbox sticking out. Lamborghini paints the frame on the back half and the end of the gearbox black just to make it a little bit less noticeable. But I'm sure there's many circumstances of Gallardo owners reversing into curbs and stuff and smashing that casing right off. We're on the home straight now. Let's carry on. And we're all finished. Just done the final check underneath. Everything is all back on. No leaks. Everything's gone together perfect. So let's get it back down on the floor. And now with it all back together, this is where our journey with the Lamborghini comes to an end. It's been an absolute privilege and an honour to be working on a car like this. It's one of those cars that you never see out on the road. It's just the kind of thing reserved just for computer games or up on a poster on the wall. So to have the opportunity to dive so deeply inside this car has been absolutely amazing. To see all the technology and the engineering, how everything is just so functional. Every vent, every intake does a job in its certain place. And it's been great to see all the design behind it all. The customers filled us in with all the history of it. They bought it when it was nearly new. It's just 1 year old when they originally bought it back in 2008. It had its first year being a press car for Lamborghini, which is where all the Top Gear scenes and everything was all filmed. But they owned it all the way through until they sold it to a guy in Switzerland who had it for a while. He's the one that put this spoiler in, which is some of you may have noticed from the Top Gear episode. This is a different spoiler, but then the current owner bought it back again and they've had it ever since. And it is a very, very rare car, being the V10 engine, the manual gearbox in this colour, left-hand drive and the Superleggera lightweight spec, which makes this almost a mythical car. But here it is in front of us already. We've run it up through all the heat cycles, through all the gears. It's now been for its MOT because it's been off the road for so long that had to run out, flew through with flying colours. So now it is ready to go back to the customer for them to enjoy many, many more years of motoring fun. I hope you've enjoyed this little two-part series. If you didn't catch part one in the last video, make sure you go and check that out. That was doing the initial engine service, changing all the filters, putting the clutch and flywheel on, and then getting the gearbox inside. And then as you've seen today, we've buttoned up all the rear ends. And there's no telling what we're gonna have in next. So make sure you share to your friends because we've always got something different here at AutoShack. But for me, so far, this has topped my list. So before we go, I'm gonna leave you with a bit of V10 goodness. But until next time, make sure you have fun.
Mm-hmm.